Okay, in this video we're going to cover the concept of surface area, and specifically surface area of a sphere. Now let's take a look at this drawing. I tried I tried to draw some three-dimensional marks in here so you can see that this is not just a circle, but it's actually a sphere. Okay, which means it basically is a ball, like a basketball or a golf ball, tennis ball, that sort of thing. And what we're trying to calculate is the amount of area that's covered on the surface, right? So if you were, for example, were to paint the whole ball, just how much of an area would you be covering? Okay, so think of it that way. Now the formula for the surface area, and a lot of times you'll see SA for surface area, or sometimes you'll see just A for area, is equal to 4 times pi times r squared. So let's define what each of these are. Remember that radius, or r is the radius, so it's from the center of the ball all the way to the outside edge. Okay, and let's say in this particular problem our radius is something like 3 inches. Okay, so it's a fairly small ball. So we know that pi is equal to 3.14. Approximately, that's a common value, but it's also equal to 22.7. Now, any of these values would be usually acceptable, okay, when you're solving a problem. This one and this one are exact numbers. This one, however, is an approximate, even though it's the most common. Okay, so this one's approximate, and these two values are exact. You're probably thinking, wait a minute, is a fraction more exact than a decimal? And the answer is most of the time, yeah, absolutely. Unless you have what's called a non-repeating decimal. But anyway, that's something different. So what we're going to do is we're going to calculate the surface area of this particular ball with a radius of 3 inches. Now sometimes the information will come at you as a diameter. Remember that a diameter is a line that goes all the way through the center of a circle or sphere and touches either end. So the diameter in this one would, for example, would be 6 inches. You're going to have to be smart enough to recognize that if it's a diameter, you need to cut it in half so that you put the correct number into the R. Or if you just give it the R, then you're lucky. Okay, so now let's go over to here again. So I've got the surface area is equal to 4 times pi times 3, and I replace whatever variable I have and put it inside a parentheses, and then I square it. Now I'm going to leave pi as just pi, because a lot of times it's a perfectly acceptable way to write your answer. So according to PEMDAS, I'm going to do the exponents first. So I'm going to get 4 times pi times 9. Keep going. 4 times 9 is 36. 36 pi. Now don't forget to put the units. In this case, it's inches squared, right? So 36 pi inches squared. Now, if you wanted to, you could also just replace pi with 3.14, and then you would get an approximate answer. Or if you replaced it with 22/7, multiply the numerator and denominator, and you would get an exact answer. But like I said, a lot of times, this is actually good enough. Okay, I hope that was helpful.